Hello, everyone, and welcome to our practical guide on exploring the OWASP Open Web Application Security Project, Top 10 Vulnerabilities and Related Tools. In this video, we'll dive into some critical aspects of web application security. Understanding OWASP and the OWASP Top 10. 1. Introduction to OWASP. First, let's understand what OWASP is and why it matters in web security. The OWASP Top 10 is a list of the most critical web application security risks. As you can see, OWASP 2021 is the latest out there for now. We'll briefly introduce each of them. 2. One good tool for web application security is Burp Suite. Burp Suite is a powerful web vulnerability scanner and proxy tool. We'll cover its basic functionalities and how it aids in web application testing. Let's discuss the vulnerability and how it affects organizations. Link resources will be shared from already found bounties (AMD CVEs) in the community to understand how to perform these attacks that we will cover. 3. Common web application vulnerabilities. Broken authentication. Broken authentication occurs when an attacker exploits vulnerabilities in the authentication process to gain unauthorized access. This could be through weak passwords, session management issues, or other flaws. One common example of broken authentication is IDOR insecure direct object references. Let's try an IDOR attack against our target. Best practices for prevention. Strong password policies. Implement strong password policies, requiring users to create complex, unique passwords and enforcing regular password changes. Multi-factor authentication, MFA. Encourage the use of multi-factor authentication, MFA. MFA adds an extra layer of security by requiring users to verify their identity through something they know, something they have, or something they are. Secure session management. Ensure secure session management. Implement session timeout mechanisms to automatically log users out after a period of inactivity, reducing the risk of unauthorized access. The reverse is insecure session management. Limit failed login attempts. Limit the number of failed login attempts to prevent brute force attacks. After a certain number of failed attempts, lock the user account or introduce delays between attempts. Regularly update and patch. Keep your software and authentication libraries up to date. Vulnerabilities are often discovered and patched in updates, so regularly updating your systems is crucial. Monitoring and logging. Implement robust monitoring and logging. Detect and respond to suspicious login activities, such as multiple failed login attempts, unusual login times, or locations. XML External Entities, XXE. XML External Entities, XXE, is a security vulnerability that occurs when an XML parser improperly processes external entities in an XML document. It can allow an attacker to include malicious content, such as files or code, from an external source into an XML document being parsed, leading to a range of security risks. Here's how XXE attacks work. XML parsing. XML documents often contain entities, which are placeholders for data, allowing developers to include data from external sources. These entities are processed by XML parsers. External entities. In an XXE attack, an attacker manipulates the XML document to reference external entities that are under their control. These external entities can be files, remote resources, or code. Exploitation. If the XML parser is not properly configured to prevent XXE, it will fetch and process the external entity content. This can have various consequences, including disclosing sensitive data, performing remote requests, or even executing malicious code. You can test your hand on our website if you can find a place to inject XML payloads. XXE vulnerabilities can be exploited to access internal files, perform denial-of-service attacks, or gain unauthorized access to systems. To protect against XXE attacks, developers and organizations should take precautions, such as disabling external entities or employing secure XML processing libraries, and follow best practices for XML document handling. Sensitive data exposure. Sensitive data exposure occurs when sensitive information is unintentionally or maliciously disclosed to unauthorized individuals or systems. This can include data like personal and financial details, health records, or intellectual property. Vulnerabilities like SQL injection, SSRF, etc. can result to sensitive data exposure. Best practices for prevention. Data classification. Start by classifying your data. Identify what data is sensitive and where it's stored, allowing you to focus on protection efforts where they matter most. Encryption. Implement data encryption both at rest and in transit. Encryption ensures that even if data is intercepted or stolen, it remains unreadable without the appropriate decryption keys. Access control. Set up strict access control mechanisms. Ensure that only authorized personnel can access sensitive data, and regularly review and update these access permissions. Broken access control. Understanding broken access control. Broken access control occurs when users can perform actions or access data they shouldn't have permission for. It can lead to unauthorized data modification, viewing sensitive information, and much more.